I made up with Glenn Close. I said I was when I. Many people just like me, dreaming of all used to be's, and the nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life. The Kennedy Center awards are generally on a Sunday, and if you're performing on Broadway, you'll have a show Saturday night. So depending on the length of the show, you're getting in a car to head to DC at least 11 p.m. And it's a good 5-hour ride. And the reason you have to go that night is because you're pretty much called at 9 a.m. the next morning for rehearsal. So we piled in the car and headed out of Manhattan at 10:45 to go to DC. Ay, ay, ay. We finally arrived, and I have a great driver, Ms. Novelette Knight, who drove her little Escalade like it was a 747. And we got there, but it was still 3:30 in the morning. And can you imagine checking into a hotel, which will take a good 15, 20 minutes, getting to your room, unpacking all your stuff, and then lying down in bed and expecting to fall asleep? It doesn't really happen. So I don't really know what time I fell asleep, but I knew that I had a 9 a.m. pickup for rehearsal at 9:30. I was tired. When we got to the Kennedy Center for the dress rehearsal at 9:30 a.m., it is incredibly well organized. And so there are many people. I was assigned Ronnie Gold, and Ronnie Gold was my minder when I did the Kennedy Centers back in 1991. And Ronnie requested me, and I'm so glad she did. I was glad to be reunited with her. So you get your pass, and you have to get assigned a dressing room, and one gets set up, and then one waits for rehearsal. Then the rehearsal is going to be in costume for the lighting people, and it's a long day. In the case of the Kennedy Centers, it's a very long but organized day, and what you do is you rehearse it for the camera. At the end of our rehearsal, Rob Ashford, the choreographer, gave us notes, and of course we all told Rob and whoever else was listening that we couldn't hear. But we didn't get a pass at the adjustment. Nobody could hear it because the orchestra was behind us. So we told the sound department and whoever else would listen that we couldn't hear, trusting that they would adjust it for the evening performance. But not having a rehearsal with the adjustment makes it all the more nerve-wracking. When we were done with our dress rehearsal, I think it was around maybe 11 o'clock, I went back to the hotel and tried to sleep because I find the best thing to do is just be quiet and get as much rest as possible. And then, because Josh was with me, I agreed to go to the White House. I had been to the White House on the first pass with the Kennedy Center, so we went. So, but that requires getting into makeup and hair and your costume, blah, blah, blah. So I slept maybe 3 hours, had something little to eat, and then Ruth and Angelina came into my room and made me up for basically the White House and the show.
How are we doing with the cards? It seems like most of the pretty important viewers.
Well, you know this theater like the back of your hand, probably. On my phone. While I slept, my son Joshua met up with a high school classmate and one of his best friends, Austin Ryer. And Austin took him around DC because he's going to American University, and took Joshua on a tour of the monuments of DC. DC is a very beautiful city, very beautiful. And unfortunately, every time I'm there, I'm working and I don't get to see it. But Josh had a great tour, went to the famous Ben's Chili Bowl, and was able to take advantage of the city while I rested for the performance. The White House was adorned with Christmas decorations. It was spectacular. And everybody was vying for a position in the room to see the president and First Lady come out of whatever room they were holed up in. We got shuttled by the military into another room, so we saw the backs of them. But I followed Glenn Close's lead. They took her, and I grabbed anybody around me and went, follow her. And we cut through the line, because we all had to get back for the half-hour call. And meeting President Obama and the First Lady was like, I don't know, it was so spectacular. It was probably more charismatic than any other president. It was really, I don't know how to describe it, awe-inspiring. And it's a brief introduction because it's a long reception line, but it was enough to go, I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. There we are at the reception, and the military band is playing. The military orchestra, I have to say, is playing, and all of a sudden, Yo-Yo Ma picked up the cello on a vacant chair, and the cello section started to play a quartet. And I was just dumbstruck and delighted and thrilled to stand there and listen to Yo-Yo Ma and the other cellists from the military orchestra play this piece of music. And there were only those of us in that room that knew that Yo-Yo Ma was playing, but we were all thrilled to death. Angelina Avallone is the lovely lady in this video with a flaming red hair. And Angie and I have been collaborating for, I can't even tell you, I think probably since 2001. And she is the makeup designer for most of the Broadway shows. She's a great lady, and I'm lucky to know her and to have her paint my face. And Ruth Karsh is another great lady who does my hair. And I asked them to travel with me to Washington, D.C. And we were on a road trip. I hate messing up, and I messed up because we only got one pass at our tribute to Barbara. I wasn't quite sure of what was going on, and I made an entrance too soon. The cameras didn't catch me. I'm sure the audience saw me go out and come back, and I did that stupid thing. I walked on, and then I snuck off backwards, and so freaked out that when it was my turn, I couldn't remember what I was doing. And then I thought, oh my God, in my head while I'm singing, just look at Barbara. Just find Barbara and sing it to Barbara. And I managed to get through it. I saw Barbara, and I sang it to her. All the while, beating myself because I screwed up the beginning. The Kennedy Center honors is quite long, and we were in the first half of the award ceremony. So when we were done, we turned around and went back to the dressing room, and I took off my clothes and got into my backstage outfit and waited and regaled Angelina and Ruth and Joshua with the last time I performed at the Kennedy Center in the Opera House, and it was in 1976, and it was The Baker's Wife.
Our marquee was up, the marquee was lit, the 3 sheets were up. We were opening on Broadway. We closed 2.5 days shy of our Broadway opening. And everybody went, oh, thank God! There were no tears. There were tears of joy. But one matinee, 25 people in 2,700 seats, 2,700. But you look out and all you saw was a sea of red. And Mike Quinn, who was Topol's understudy, but it wasn't Topol anymore, it was upholstery. You know, this is continental seating. It's not the center aisle. Went across the orchestra. Just imagine rows. All the way. Came back. We went back like 2 or 3 rows. There was nobody. They didn't even seat them in the same place. We couldn't find them.
They couldn't even put them together like in a group.
Yes, like how about the first 2 rows? How about the first row? No, we have no idea where they were sitting. But they told us 25 people in 2,700 seats.
Wow.
And it's a pity too, because it's a great idea. It's a great movie. La Femme de Boulanger. It's Marcel Pagnol's first import. It's the first French import to America in 1939. La Femme de Boulanger, and it's this famous French comedian Ramu, and this beautiful young girl, and it's a wonderful story. It's La Femme de Boulanger, Marius and Fanny. He had a repertory company in Provence, and it should have made. Why they didn't just take the film script? Because the film script works.
But they just say to someone else.
David Merrick hired Joe Stein. He wanted to replicate the success of Fiddler.
Ladies and gentlemen,
He offered it.
Lionel Richie.
He offered it to Zero Mostel, and Zero Mostel turned it down. And then he got Topol, thinking that was going to be the next best thing. But Topol had never been involved in originating in American music. He only repeated Fiddler. Got Joe Stein, who wrote Fiddler, to write the book. And Stephen Schwartz had Motown's backing. It was Joe Malziner's last set, Jennifer Tipton lights, Theone Aldridge costumes.
Oh, so great people.
Everybody at the top of their game, and nobody could pull it together. It's been so sad. You know, we were supposed to be in Provence, but everybody was dressed as if they were Paris runway models. And the set were just heavy, 2 turntables, and we were lit like we were in a Welsh mining camp. And these turntables were just really heavy, but didn't have that bright light of of Provence, and the orchestrations and sounded like Broadway. So it got progressed. It was so bad, and they've never been able to make it work. Never been able to, because they keep reviving it, and they can't. It's got a curse on it too bad.
After the event was over, a few of us that paid tribute to Barbara were asked to stay because they wanted to reshoot us. And of course there was a party to attend. And I couldn't decide what I would rather do, reshoot and correct the mistakes I made or go to the party.
Okay. So are you sure I'm not needed?
I'll double, triple check, but yeah. We're for sure Patty's not needed, right? We were told you weren't.
We love you, you're always needed, but you're not required to this stage.
Damn, I want to do mine again because I suck.
You did not.
I did. I said it had wrong lyrics.
You were part of yourself.
I was
I'm
bad.
gonna see your show.
So you guys, I guess I'm getting dressed the other way now. All right. Well, almighty, I'm just so confused, you guys.
On the way to the gala after I had been released, because they didn't need me to reshoot, I got back in my little party outfit and we were taken backstage, and I ran into James Taylor. And James Taylor was one of the composers on Stephen Schwartz's musical Working, and I was so thrilled to see him again with his wife. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Anne Hathaway, who was paying tribute to Meryl Streep. And I got the opportunity to meet Anne, and we talked about Fantine and Les Mis. And she brought up Meadowlark. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun. When we finally arrived at the party, I was seated at Barbara Cook's table. Isn't that great? I was thrilled. And at that table was Audra McDonald, Will Swenson, Hunter and Sutton Foster, Glenn Close and her husband, Anna Christie, Josh and me. And sitting next to Sutton and listening to Sutton. It was great just to be around the people that I am in the community with. As I was making my way out of the gala, I ran into Michael Kahn, who was my teacher at Juilliard, and Kevin Kline, who was my boyfriend and my classmate, and with Bill Irwin, who I did Accidental Death of an Anarchist with. And it was a lot of fun. It's a wonderful party.
Wow. What a party. I made up with Glenn Close.
Wow.
Okay.
Glenn gave me a big hug.
Yes.
She said there was nothing to say and everything to say. DC is a beautiful city, and a city that I've had remarkable experiences in, with the Baker's Wife, with the American National Theater, with the Kennedy Center Honors, and I guess one never knows what to expect anytime one puts oneself out there. And this experience was unique, filled with love, and definitely filled with surprises.